I think we're live. Yes, we are. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and today, or another live stream, not video. And today, we are doing a live discussion on how the GOP can win the 2024 elections. No, you aren't live. Yeah, I'm not live, I don't think. But yeah, I hope everyone's having a phenomenal day, night, midnight, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm certainly having a good day myself, the day before July 4th. And today we're going to just be doing a quick stream about how can the GOP pull off a victory in 2024. Now, before we get into today's live stream, I hope you enjoy these type of streams. If you do, smash the like button down below. Subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below. Guys, go follow the Twitter accounts, go follow the Rumble pages, all that. And of course, join the channel today. Guys, this is the best way to support Real American and keep the content completely independent. Want to do that? Well, this is the best way to do it. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Alright, everybody, so let's get into it. Let's just get into the Republican Party. They need to play 2024 with a very simple goal in mind. Don't make the same mistakes as in 2022. I mean, we can just look back at 2022 and see where the mistakes were made by the GOP. Is that I would say, agreeable? That's the first step we gotta look at. Why did the GOP fail in 2022? Now, people are gonna say Blumph and all of that, and I'm actually gonna bring up an article right here. It's made by a congressional candidate that I think all of you know. Let me just pull this up. But yes, I gotta get this article up. Where is it? And it explains, like, okay, what really went wrong with the GOP in 2022, because there's so many people that say, oh, it was Blumph. Well, here we go. So this was made by congressional candidate David Giglio, who I know there's a meme about him and Barris, but it's like, I talked to him, he's a nice dude. He was a good candidate, and I think, would he have won the district? I don't know, but this is a very good article that I think everybody should read. It's Failure by Design, and how and why the GOP establishment killed the red wave. And I'm not going to go into all of it, but it goes in a good detail. I may go through most of it, but you just scroll down here. And this is the first major problem. Look at this. This is funding for each of the candidates. All right, based on race, or based on each election. These are key House, Senate, and governor elections. Look at this. Let's start at the House. Michigan 3rd. John Gibbs, outspent by $3.5 million. Joe Kent, outspent by $3.5 million. Jared Majewski, outspent by $3.7 million. Jim Bognett, outspent by $1.5 million. Caroline Leavitt, outspent by $500,000. Alaska, the Republicans were outspent by $1.5 million. Senate, look at this. Herschel Walker was outspent by $100 million. Blake Masters, outspent by $64 million. Adam Laxalt, outspent by $44 million. Pennsylvania, outspent by $39 million. Don Bolduc, $32 million. Alaska, Murkowski was given $15 million more dollars than Chewbacca. The governorship, Doug Mastriano, outspent $53 million. Kerry Lake, outspent by $6 million. Tudor Dixon, outspent by $49 million. Tim Michaels, outspent by $12 million. Minnesota, Jensen, outspent by $16 million. Darren Bailey, outspent by $34 million. This is just right from the FEC filings. Austin the American for 2. If Romney won in 2012, what would 2014 and 2016 be? 2014 would be a blue wave, and 2016 I don't know. I gotta look more into it because that's such a radically different timeline. It's like, would Romney win a second term? Eh. But just look at this, guys. This isn't just based on bias or not. There was a clear spending gap. And guess what? The GOP establishment purposely targeted, Trump candidates, more Trump candidates. That's just a statistical fact. This isn't, anything, the GOP they totally try to win. Let's read some of this. Let's read this. According to FEC records, McCarthy's Congressional Leadership Fund alone directly spent upwards of $7 million opposing America First GOP candidates like Joe Kent, John Gibbs, Anthony Sabatini, Lauren Culp, Jared Majewski, Michael Cassidy, Caroline Leavitt, and myself. Just think about that for a second. They spent $7 million. And I'm not saying all of these guys are great. There's some that are just like, eh. But even more infuriating, much of the money McCarthy spent opposing America First candidates were used to protect incumbents who voted to impeach President Trump, such as Butler, Valadao, Newhouse, and Meyer. Furthermore, that $7 million does include the millions spent against these candidates by the McCarthy-aligned dark groups. It's estimated these groups spent a combined $10 million in the primary for Florida's 7th Congressional District, targeting Sabatini, a fierce ally of President Trump who vowed not to support McCarthy for Speaker. This is just one election! They spent $10 million! And again, I'm a big fan of Corey Mills. I've grown to enjoy him. He's a great congressman. I'm a Mills enjoyer. But it's like, you spent $10 million against one primary in a safe Republican seat. $10 million. What am I supposed to say? That political guy for two. If they want to win, nominate Stapleton. True. But think about that. $7 million. And you're telling me, oh, look at these House races. You add all these up. How much the advantage was for the Democrats. 1.6. Let's just say when you round it up, it's like 13 million. They spent 17 million, just 10 million on one race, mind you. They could have cut these gaps in half. And guess what? Joe Kent would be a congressman right now. He only lost because of the primary. Spence Sports Network for two. Who's your least favorite politician? There's a couple Democrats in the state house, Wisconsin, but I would say Biden because he's destroying this. But he's destroying this country. But either way, guys, you cannot tell me this was just a funding problem. Yes, they did get outspent. But here's the thing. The big fat caveat. The GOP spent more on primaries, just one primary, than they did on 6 elections for the House seats. All 6, they lost except New Hampshire won and Alaska. They lost by like a couple points. The spending gap was a huge problem. Don't give me this crap the GOP ran out of money. They didn't. They just didn't want to give the money to these Trump candidates. That's what happened. In Pennsylvania, McConnell helped behind the scenes with a smear campaign that took out the frontrunner Sean Parnell and then spent a small fortune pushing McCormick over Mehmet Oz. McConnell-aligned dark money groups also spent millions pushing Chuck Morse over Don Bolduc. And Chuck Morse I supported. No, don't get me wrong, but it's like the Sean Parnell thing, when you dig deep into it, McConnell took out Parnell. This isn't even a joke. How can you take out Parnell, the one that everybody agreed upon? The list goes on and on, with Alaska representing perhaps the most egregious example. McConnell and his minions spared no expense to save Trump impeacher Murkowski. McConnell's behavior in the Alaska race was so over the top that he was censored by the Alaska Republican Party. Not only were millions spent propping up their established candidates, but they chose to run ruthless smear campaigns against their America First challengers. For example, in Washington's 4th District, which featured a high-profile race between Butler and America First Joe Kent. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Kent. McCarthy's Butler-aligned dark money groups waged total war. They sent out mailers with pictures of Joe Kent side by side with Adolf you-know-who, implying that Kent, a former Green Beret who served his nation with honor, was a socialist akin to one of history's most heinous individuals. Remember this? If you don't think this plays an impact in the general, I don't know what to tell you. Guys, here's the problem, the biggest problem the GOP has to stop. Stop with these nonsensical primaries. I'm not saying, stop primaries in general, but stop these ruthless, brutal attacks, this nonsense. Like, just read this. They are relating Kent to one of the most horrible human beings ever. Not even a human. That's the same thing as what happened to Masters. Jim Lamont spent $50 million calling Blake Masters an anti-Semite who hated Jewish people. This is how you win a primary. This is how you fix 2022 by itself. Stop these nonsensical spending gaps. Don't spend $10 million defending a single candidate. It's like, what are you doing? Spend Sports Network for 2. Where does Trudeau rank among the worst world leaders? Probably, he's up there. Probably top 10, easy. But, this is what I'm saying, everybody. I'm fine with having primaries, but you notice you never see these America First candidates or like Trump candidates or whatever. They never go this far. It's always these establishment shills. I'm not saying all of them, but nearly every single time, these establishment hacks, they go so deep, they would rather the Democrat win. It was Washington's 3rd, now Washington's 4th article in Val. Oh, whoopee-doo. He misspelled one thing. My bad. Or excuse him. But it's like, it doesn't matter. This is just based on math and numbers. Despite the NRCC and McCarthy's Congressional Leadership Fund spending record amounts of cash this cycle, these 6 candidates were left to be outspent by their Democrat rivals by an average of $2.4 million. Gibbs, Kent, and Majewski, who had expressed reluctance to vote for McCarthy as Speaker, were outspent by an average of $3.5 million, with Kent and Majewski receiving $0 from McCarthy or the NRCC. In the case of John Gibbs, who was lucky enough to receive $2.7 million from the Congressional Leadership Fund, the money came at a cost. According to sources familiar with the matter, McCarthy and his team told Gibbs if he wanted their help in general, he needed to fire his consultants, pollsters, and advisors and surrender control of his campaign to their high-priced consultants. Even with the $2.7 million from the CLF, Gibbs was still left to be outspent almost 2-1. How can anybody defend this? So they don't help you if you don't give their consultants. And a lot of these consultants suck. They won't give you a dime if you don't go with them. That political guy for 5. Did you think that David Perdue should have not ran the primary as well? In hindsight, he shouldn't have. He should have probably ran for the Senate seat. And he probably would have won. There was a lot of bad blood with Brian Kemp, and that's what happened. But I realize now Kemp's not the problem. Dustin Carter for 2. Which states do you feel flip are at the moment? Georgia, Nevada, Wisconsin. We'll get to that, but it's like, this is how you solve the... Number 1, with these primaries, congressional leadership, they should have no business. Don't spend a freaking dime on these races. That's none of your business to decide who the nominee is. It's none of your business. It's not the GOP, it's none of the Congressional Leadership Fund's business. None of it. Just let the voters decide. Don't spend, if you're going to spend that money on a primary, you should spend triple that defending other candidates. But you notice, remember, they spent a record amount Yet half the candidates in competitive seats were outspent by like 5-1 margins? Where did the money go? Because most of it went to frickin' primaries. Even as polls began to show Masters closing the gap on Mark Kelly, McConnell refused to spend a dime in support of him. Instead, he elected to continue pouring money into the Senate races in Ohio and North Carolina, where both Ted Budd and Vance were, at this point, almost certain to win. In total, McConnell's Senate Leadership Fund and NRSC spent a combined $37.9 million in North Carolina and $32 million in Ohio. It's not to say that Budd and Vance weren't deserving McConnell's money. It's that the outcome of both races was never really in doubt as we inch closer to Election Day. In addition to overspending in Ohio and North Carolina, McConnell also chose to burn money in Colorado in support of Trump-hating Joe O'Dea, rather than helping Masters. On the governor's side of things, the task of quote-unquote winning was bestowed upon the Republican Governors Association, which is run by outgoing Arizona Governor Doug Ducey and the Ricketts family. In the 6 governor races that featured Trump-backed candidates, the GOP was outspent by an average of $29 million. In the 2 races, Arizona and Pennsylvania, where the results would have significant impact on the GOP's chances in 24, the RGA and Ducey were nowhere to be found. It just keeps going. And again, I'm not going to read all of their, and there's like some minor, issues here, but it's like, you guys get the point? They spent more on defending O'Dea. I still can't get over the fact they spent $10 million sinking Sabatini, who, I'm not saying is a perfect candidate, but it's like, huh? If you're going to spend that amount of money on a primary, there's no reason why you can't spend that in general. Triple that. Cleefish would have beaten Evers in Wisconsin. Purdue would have beaten Warnock in Georgia. You would have beaten Hobbs in Arizona. So let's take this step by step. So Cleefish, I have my doubts. I think I have a feeling she would have been Tudor Dixon too. It just seems like that the candidates that suffered the most in 22, and this isn't just America First candidates, it's establishment candidates also. But it seemed like the pro-life women, like Tudor Dixon, like Rebecca Cleefish and Caroline Leavitt, they all got obliterated. Every single one of them in competitive seats, all of them got slapped. And I know there's some other reasons, but it's like, the abortion stuff I think would have hurt Cleefish more. Because she has some, you thought Michaels had some bad comments? Boy, look up what Cleefish said about abortion. I'm not even against what she said. It's like, if you think Michael said stuff that was bad, good luck. Stephen Howard for 5. What do you feel is Trump's biggest weakness or liability in the 2024 for the general election? His biggest liability, I would say there's 2 things. One, the people around him. The people around him have always screwed him over. And I'm worried about who he's going to pick for VP. But number 2, messaging. Messaging. Like, he's had great messaging this year. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm just saying, however, that messaging could be the downfall of Trump if he doesn't continue focusing on what matters. Trump, he get off message real quick. And again, there's some funny stuff he does, but it's like, he's been crushing DeSantis because, unlike DeSantis, he's talking about issues that matter. I'm just saying. But I think it's going to be more so, can he stay on topic? And does he have good people around him this time? They spend money stupidly, so no one donates. Yeah, and the donation emails, they're like, please give me money, or else Trump is going to get thrown in jail. It's like, go away. It's a scam. And you notice, these emails by the RNC and the GOP, they're never about volunteering. Never. Now, they maybe change it a little bit with Bank Your Vote, but it's like, it's never about volunteering. It's never about getting out the vote. It's about money. Give me money. in the batshit insane scenario that O'Dea became a senator and the GOP lost North Carolina, Florida, and Wisconsin, what would your reaction be? McConnell purposely sunk us just because he felt like it. That would be my reaction. But yeah, so I think that the biggest thing that GOP has to fix, if I'm fine with primaries, or not really, but when you're in competitive seats, don't spend, like this amount here, where is it? When they spent $10 million against, $10 million in a single primary for a safe seat. This was a safe seat. And you could say all you want about Sabatini, but it's like, there's no reason for it. None. Nutch, zilch, none. But I just think this is the biggest thing that GOP has to fix. These garbage primaries need to end. But the second one is, well, put it simply, who makes the most sense in each state? Like, for example, let's say, in Wisconsin, I think it's clear dry. It should be Tiffany. He's be our best option. But let's see the primaries between David Clark and Tom Tiffany. All right, let's look at the positives of both. Tom Tiffany, he represents a state that Tammy Baldwin has always outran other Democrats in. He's also a very popular one. He's outran Trump a couple points. And he's very well liked by the Wisconsin GOP. So, what are the positives of David Clark? I'm not a fan of him. Well, he's a former Democrat. He has a unique appeal to, like, Milwaukee. And that's about it. So just look at that. And David Clark, and look at the negatives. Clark is batshit crazy in some issues. Let's not even get into that. But just start looking at it, and you realize, okay, logically, Tom Tiffany makes the most sense. Montana, that's a tough one. You can make the argument Shaheen makes sense, but Shaheen hasn't won a statewide election before. Rosendale has done it twice. All right, so that's positive one for Rosendale. Positive two, he has a supportive Club for Growth, and they're going to spend millions trying to get him in. Millions. It doesn't matter what Daines tries to do. Club for Growth is going all in on Rosendale. Let's see here. Populist Missourian for 5. Let's just have Chris Christie eat all the Dem votes. So true. But, okay, start looking at it. He has one statewide twice. One local, one federal, because he won in 2020. He's also outran Trump in 2022 in his district. So start looking at it. And plus, Montana's a Trump plus 15 state. And when you look at the math, Tester only outran the math is, it was a Trump plus 3 electorate in 2018 in the state of Montana. Tester won by 3. So let's say Tester outran Trump by 7. Trump won the state by 15 in 2020. Under that math, Tester would have lost by 8. I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but it's like, okay. And I understand the argument that, he lost once. But it's like, these same people want to run David McCormick again. They worship Ron Ketty. I know Ron Ketty, it's New Mexico, but it's like, suddenly, if you lose by 50 in a swing state, that's one thing, but it's a midterm, it's a blue wave. It's like not a good comparison. And hey, Chief Strato has joined the channel. Welcome to the regular council. Thank you so much for joining. But yeah, you just start looking at each state. Logically, in my opinion, Montana makes sense for Rosendale. Because it doesn't matter who you're going to run. Rosendale and Shaheen are going to do basically the same. There's not going to be some magical 15-point difference. Some of these people are deranged. It's like 2020. It's like 2022. Name a state where their candidate would have outperformed the Republican by more than 4. Because, okay, you make an argument 1 or 2, maybe 3 points. You start talking about 4 or 5 points? In most states, that ain't happening. It just won't. It's my argument that, okay, you make an argument to 1 point difference. Outside of Arizona, and maybe Nevada, but it's like Sam Brown sucks. it's like, okay, even if you ran your candidate, most of these elections were lost by 3, 4, 5 points. So even if you ran your guys, I don't know about that. But just start to do the math on it. And again, I know some states are different. Pennsylvania votes differently than Montana, which Pennsylvania coalitions make no sense. But either way, it's not going to be this 15-point gap like some people are claiming it's going to be. It may be 1, maybe 2, but as of now, we got no polling to indicate which way that's going to be. I know Montana's a bit different, but it is what it is. So I think everybody gets a point, though, that the big 2 things is stop these nonsensical primaries where the GOP establishment intervenes in every little race. And then the second thing is just look at each election with logic. Just say, okay, Rosendale, he's won statewide a couple times. He's very well liked in his district. And he's going to do very good with the Club for Growth money. Shahi, he could self-fund, maybe a bit more than Club for Growth. And he has united the Montana GOP behind him, at least with Greg Gianforte and Daines. But you probably get the point, though. That political guy for 2, opinion on Joe Lombardo. I can understand the abortion stuff because it is Nevada we're talking about, but the transgender stuff, dude, stop it. Stop it. It sucks what Lombardo signed, but I can forgive him for the abortion stuff because it is the state of Arizona or Nevada. It's a bit more of a pro-choice state than most, but yeah. Okay, let's see. Why are so many so content about the 2022 Texas races? Abbott outspent Beto almost 2-1 at some points. 2022 Beto is weaker than in 2018, yet Abbott won by less than 2018 in a redder environment. Well, here's always been my problem with comparing midterms to other midterms. Turnout changes. Turnout can screw some things up. And I always hate when people say, well, if you lose a midterm, you can never win. It's like Moss, that's one thing. But Rosendale in a midterm, when the electorate's be completely different? Yeah, that's not a good comparison. But Texas, turnout was a bit different. You can make the argument, Abbott went and gets a stronger candidate this time. All that jargon. Plus, you do got trends happening, and Abbott did become slightly more conservative. There's multiple reasons, you could say. Will Trump win Texas by 7 to 9 points? I could see it, but we just got to see. The GOP was dominating elections, and then the orange blob came. Yeah, how did the presidential elections go? How did they go? That's the one thing the certain people ignore. Oh, we won a midterm with 20% turnout. You didn't win the presidency. Yeah, let me bring this up for a second. Well, let me, and again, I know the turnout data is probably off a little bit, but 2018 House elections. Let me just get this out. Okay. There we go. So, this is the only election that Republicans were winning in the past. When it was 36% turnout. Whenever it was more... Back then, the GOP was begging for turnout to be below 2. Just to win. This is the key difference between the GOP then and now. And look at 2018. Turnout was 50%. And GOP got crushed. But this new Republican coalition, turnout was, they don't got the data out yet, but we could probably scroll down. So it was just under 5 million less votes than 2018. Yet the GOP did great. Or not great. They did awful. I'm just saying, they did fine. Because in the past, when it was a high turnout election, the GOP would get crushed. But now it's changing because the GOP coalition is becoming more diverse, becoming more working class. So higher turnout doesn't necessarily mean Democrats. It doesn't. Depends on the area, though. But do you think McConnell will sabotage the Montana, Ohio, West Virginia Senate races? Yeah, he will. He will. Because it's like if I guarantee you he's not going to spend anything in Montana. I guarantee it. It doesn't matter if he is a candidate or not. He's going to spend nothing. Because that is McConnell in a nutshell. The fact that he's still Senate leader, he failed upwards. That's why the GOP is just screwed. That's why they're screwed unless they get rid of people like McConnell. And we got a super chat. Tristan for 2. Are we investing enough in ballot harvesting operations? And we're going to get into that. But the GOP, it seems like they finally got the message on early voting. It's called Bank Your Vote. Go look it up. It seems like the GOP is starting to realize, yeah, we got to use early voting. It doesn't have to be, every single vote has to be early. Just no. Try to get as many votes as possible early, so when it's election day, you don't have to bank on perfect turnout to win. GOP won in 1952. They don't need evil Blum. Stephen Howard for 10. I live in Ohio and not sure which of Brown's possible opponents is my favorite. However, I expect Brown to run above 6 points ahead of Biden. Do you think that's fair? So, first one, yeah, I'm still undecided about who I support in Ohio, too. I'm torn between Moreno and LaRose, because Dolan stinks. Guys, if you really think Dolan's the only one that can win, it's a Trump state. Ohio is the definition of Trump country. It swung like 20 points Trump. Or what, it was like 15 points? So, no, Dolan's an establishment hack. So this idea that he's the only one that could beat, the only eluctable one against freaking Brown in the most Trumpy state possible, you're crazy. But as for the second point, I think Brown will outrun Biden by like 4 or 5, maybe 6. So that's actually a fair argument. That it's just a matter of how much vote splitting is there still. I'm gonna laugh if he only does like a point better. But, yeah, I think that overall Republicans, even Steve Daines, he doesn't care who the nominee is. What does that tell you? And that, again, I'm fine with Daines. There's been some problems with him, but, it's like, why do you think he's not involved in it? Because he's fine with any of the candidates, because anybody with a brain would realize, yeah, he's going to win. The most Trumpy state, who ran further ahead, DeWine or Vance? Okay, that's not going to... First of all, DeWine ran an uncontested general. I mean, the Democrats spent like $5. Second of all, you cannot compare a governor election to the Senate race. Elizabeth Warren won by 30 in Massachusetts. Charlie Baker won by 40, the Republican. So, Charlie Baker is the greatest Republican ever. It's like, no. It's just different elections. Plus, Trump won the state by 9 when it was always been a tilt state. Always been a toss-up. So, and also, Vance went against a stronger candidate. And on top of all of that, DeWine, he only won because Democrats loved him on lockdowns. You think I'm kidding? It was like 40% of Democrats voted for the guy because of the lockdowns. They loved him for the lockdowns. That ain't good. Ain't good at all. But DeWine had a bunch of different things, completely different circumstance. The opponent spent $5. He had like 50 million. Excuse me. Except like 50 million or whatever it was. Sorry, I just had to get my water. So, the argument that, DeWine, it's not a Trump state. Are we at that point where people are denying that Ohio is Trump country? I saw somebody on Twitter say, Matt Dolan's the only one that can beat Brown. In Ohio? You freaking kidding me? Are you nuts? Between Kansas, Utah, and Alaska, which state is getting out of control the worst, and which should we be most worried about long term? So, I would say Alaska, I think's just the Alaska thing is because of the ranked choice voting, but that's getting overthrown. Utah, there's hope we may take out Romney. It just the GOP, the Kansas GOP sucks. The Kansas GOP is beyond the worst thing I've ever seen. These are the guys that called Youngkin an extremist. It's just, yeah, no. Well, let's not even play around with that. The Kansas GOP just is the worst. Not even, I still have to make a video on that. The fact they called Youngkin a far-right extremist, a MAGA Republican. That's not even a joke. That's what they said. Okay. Need to get rid of the rhinos. Yeah, there's still a lot of rhinos. Trump is getting more than 200 electoral votes. Give me a break. Like, at that point, okay. Hold on, 120? He would have to lose Texas, Florida, North Carolina, Ohio, Iowa, and Kansas to get 120. This is like the absolute worst case scenario for Trump right now. 107. That's if old shit hits the fan, he runs third part or something crazy. But realistically, this is probably what closer to his floor. Chris Kobach is the best we have in Kansas. Yeah, that's the state of the Kansas GOP. GOP state versus Trump state. Nobody said Dolan is the only one who could beat Brown. Just tend to die hard Trump expectations since they tend to get complacent with what he said. What? Look up Ohio before Trump. Look it up. Sure, John Kasich won. Who freaking cares if Kasich wins or not? He sucks. Look at Ohio before Trump and after. It went from a D plus 5 state in 2012, I think it was, or D plus 3, and D plus 6 in 2008. And Bush only won by like a point. And look into it, he won because of 9/11. That's what it was. So, on top of all of that, it's not a Trump, it's an R plus 9 state because of Trump. So, don't start this crap that, it's a GOP state. GOP over Democrat, if you call him Rhino. Well, at some point, it's like, okay, Charlie Baker. There's no difference between him and a Democrat. But Kasich is eluctable. Let's see. He make map shiny red color. Yeah, that's an argument some people have. Explain Portman then? Well, look who he ran against. Let me actually pull that up. That's actually one that people just forget about. 2016 Ohio Senate. He ran against some slouches for a couple of years. All right. So Rob Portman, he won by 17 in 2010, but very low turnout election, and the Democrat side was complete chaos. And for once, the GOP actually had a funding advantage. Look at this. He spent twice the amount Democrats did, and it was a red tsunami. Plus the turnout was like 2%. Now 2016, he won by 21. Yes, he won against Ted Strickland, but it's like, once again, another semi-brutal election. And I believe the funding numbers are down here. No, they aren't. But this time he was an incumbent, and Trump was on the ballot. He won by 10 state or 9 statewide. Trump did. I'm not denying Portman was not a solid, he's not a good Republican, but he won by a lot. But it's like, okay, I'd rather have Vance than Portman. Also, what about Arizona? Is the McCain Rhino stuff still alive? Yeah, it's still breathing and festering. It won't go away, I don't think. What is the general strategy for dealing with Nevada? If you were in charge, first of all, if I was in charge, we would be screwed, but yeah. What would you do to win the state, whether on a presidential, congressional, senatorial level? I will say this. Hammer Vegas. Throw everything in the kitchen sink in Vegas. The darkest part, the darkest blue parts of Nevada, right? The bluest, darkest blue parts of Nevada. That's northern Vegas. Throw everything in the kitchen sink and Latino working class voters and the culinary unions. Everything you got. Reno, you got a floor there. You're not going to do much better there, and you're not going to do much worse. So Reno, just But throw everything you got in northern Vegas in particular. Let's see here. Also, don't mean any hate towards you. Been watching content for a while. Just want to make sure you don't convert to a shill. Well, I'm not a shill. I'm just saying, like, I would rather have Vance than Portman. Portman's not good on the issues. All right. What is happening in chat with... What's up with Chris Christie? There's a Chris Christie supporter now? Bruh. At least, okay. It's going from purple to blue. What? What is? Nevada? Or Arizona. Yeah, Arizona is probably in trouble. I don't see how the GOP recovers from that. The GOP would win by landslides if they gain 2 brain cells. Yeah, just put me in charge. I mean, it's like people say, oh my god, you predicted incorrectly. But it's like, yeah, but if you gave me and like a few other people in charge, we would have made 2022 a red wave. We would have. Our funding, we wouldn't have funded freaking Colorado at all. That alone cost like how many millions? Just throw that in Nevada. We would have Senator Laxalt right now. Blue North Carolina. But yeah. So anyways, back to the map. So let's discuss how Republicans can actually win. And there are 6 states that theoretically Republicans have to. There are 6 states that could go realistically anyway. Either way. Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. So let's go state by state. And this is not 100%. This is just all theoretical. Now, the state of Georgia, of the Sunbelt states, I'm actually confident in. I think, Trump will do solid compared to other Sunbelt states, like Arizona. And I'm not saying it's 100%, but I think that as of now, I think Trump may slightly pull off Georgia. I think that it's one of those states where Kemp, I think, is cooking. Governor Kemp is doing a good job recently. So I think that right now, you got to hammer Georgia. That's a state you got to throw everything at too. And you got to somehow find a way to either make up the suburban margins through downtown Atlanta or hold off the bleeding and do great in the rural parts. But it is Trump we're talking about. If there's one guy that would do great in downtown Atlanta, it's Trump. He's the only one that could see pulling some magical bullshit off. Because Trump still has the meme magic. He's still the Republican that will do the best with minority voters. So, we'll just say, okay, Georgia goes Republican. And let's say Nevada does too. Well, guess what? You still need 2 states. And I think, or just win Pennsylvania. Or just win Michigan, but that's probably not going to happen. So, let's say Biden wins Michigan, because Michigan ain't looking too good for the GOP. Plus, of the 3 Midwestern states, I think Biden has the best appeal in Michigan. I think he does. Just for the fact that he did good in 2020 there. And I just think that there are a lot of union workers, especially with Ford. They do like Biden, even if it's not as much as it was. But okay, let's say Michigan is Democrat. Well, you got to find Wisconsin, Arizona. You have to pull it off through those states. You're not going to... I doubt you're... I wouldn't say doubt, but... Ooh. Pennsylvania's a 1 state, though. It's a 1 state that I'm very iffy on. How would you fix the Michigan GOP? Fire everybody and put John James in charge. Just do that. But okay, let's say Republicans, they win Wisconsin. I think some of the trends are still decent, and there is a certain voter in Wisconsin that will only vote for Trump, just like Pennsylvania, but more so in Wisconsin. Well, at this point, you have to win something. You have to win either Arizona or Pennsylvania. And this is the big question. Where should Trump focus more on? Pennsylvania or Arizona? Because this is one I've been debating about for a while. Like internally, like, okay, what makes more sense? I think Trump has a higher floor in Arizona, but he has a higher ceiling in Pennsylvania. I'm getting that gut feeling. And it's Arizona's more winnable. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, Trump, I think, has a higher floor in Arizona, but higher ceiling in Pennsylvania. Ooh, because realistically, we have to focus on like one state in particular of the final two, Pennsylvania and Arizona. Trump is the magic of Pennsylvania, in my opinion. Arizona's within reach, but it's more of a reach. I just think Arizona, he has a higher floor. It's just Pennsylvania, he has a higher ceiling, but the problem is Biden has roots there. Fake roots, but still roots. Trump needs to focus on Pennsylvania. He could focus on both. Yeah, but just hypothetically, which one should he focus on more? Is Virginia entirely lost in 24? For the presidential election, probably, but for the Senate race, to be determined. With Katie Hobbs as governor, it's going to be hard. So, same thing in Pennsylvania. But we have to squeeze off like 3 more electoral votes somewhere. Focus on Hawaii. True, Trump is really popular in Hawaii for no apparent reason. Focus on freaking Hawaii. All right, so either way, it's going to come down to one of those 2 states, I think. New York and Missouri flip. Real. Hitting the hammer on affirmative action may also help with Asian and white voters in Maricopa. Okay, dude, you can't spam. Stop it. But, yeah, the affirmative action one's going to, if Republicans pull it off, they can win a lot of support. Especially with how the Democrats are reacting. Because here's the reality in it. The only voters that support the Democrat stuff on affirmative action are white liberals and black voters. That's just a fact. I mean, that's based on every polling data we got. Outside of that, Hispanics are against it vehemently. Asians are like 90% against it. Whites are fairly against it still. It's like, that is something our GOP has to hammer on. Hammer it especially to Asian and white voters. And that could help. Absolutely. Hawaii's still too blue, though. Yeah, but it's Trump. This is mother effing Trump we're talking about here. Trump doesn't need a campaign in Democrat areas, yeah. Do what Zeldin did. Do a rally in downtown Philly. Do it. I want to see it. Same thing in downtown Atlanta. In the most Democrat part of the state. Just do a freaking rally. Screw it. Hey, Rap, do you think we should increase the number of representatives in the House or leave it as is? I say we gotta increase it. Currently, I think it's a bit too little right now. Like, the founders never, like, imagined that it would stop at 435 if they kept growing as fast as we did. Yes, Zeldin approach. Yeah, what's the most Democrat city in America? Detroit? Rally in downtown Detroit. That's a bluest city, right? I think. They like voted 99% Biden to rally in downtown New York. Yeah, he has to. I mean, this is a hot take. And I know this was proven wrong in 2020, or not really proven, but I think this election comes down to minority voters, how they swing. Because I think that if Hispanics and Asians swing Republican, I think Trump got it. Or if they swing like not just 1%, like a few points. But yeah, do a rally in DC, Philly, San Francisco, yeah. All the Democrat cities. Find the most bluest precinct possible and frickin' barnstorm it. I think it's Chicago. I thought it's Detroit. But no, I think it's gonna be minority voters that do decide the election. Because I don't see white voters changing that much. I think they're just gonna like change between maybe some white suburbs shift a bit Democrat, white rural areas shift Republican. It's a matter of, I think personally, how Asians and Hispanics vote. I'm not saying it's 100%, but I think it's going to happen a little bit. Do it in Louisville. County or city. Just do it in Detroit. San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Detroit, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Philly, DC. It's perfect. What's the worst that could happen? Doing rallies in the most Democrat parts of the country. Like, in New York City also. Like, D+90 places. Boston, Atlanta. Florida's really well, maybe Orlando. Rally in Prince George County in Maryland. Campaign in Austin. Yeah, it just, you can find a list. I actually have a hot take. If Trump does that, he actually wins a lot more voters. Because he was the first ever, like, Republican to actually go in those areas. Since, like, Nixon, probably. Madison, Wisconsin. Now, avoid Madison. There's no voters who will win there. That's my experience from Madison. Or, yeah, no, do a rally outside of Biden's, like, summer home in Delaware. Do it. Yeah, Trump should just barnstorm college campuses. Yeah, because he has the meme magic. Unlike other Republicans who... DeSantis is trying to copy that meme magic. It's cringe. Only Trump is the only one that can use the memes to his advantage. He's the only one that could get like 100% turnout in like the University of like, I don't know, Wisconsin, Madison. And he wins it. He's the only Republican that could pull something crazy off like that. If you can move them from D+90 to D+85, that could help. Yeah, it's not like, oh, you're pandering. It's just like, no, you're going to areas that Republicans have avoided for God knows how long. So I think it makes sense. My opinion, it does make much more sense to campaign in some of those areas. Arizona could still flip. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying, like, it's to be determined. Trump should barnstorm Dallas, Texas with a cowboy hat. Oh my gosh, the internet may break with that one. That or the gritty. You know, actually the gritty. Or he gets the freaking grimace shake, whatever it's called. By the way, don't get it, was disgusting. It's like, do that. If he does a gritty or like consumes a grimace shake live on TV, he wins like every single Zoomer vote. He will crush Biden with those voters. Arizona won't flip. Yeah, I don't know. Trump should stand on the X. No, no. That's not a good idea. Not a good idea, there, guy. Trump holds on to every state from 2020. He only needs Pennsylvania and Georgia. That's wrong, actually. Well, is it? Oh, that's actually right. I know Trump did a commercial with Grimace once, but it's like, I'm talking about eat the crap. By the way, don't eat it. It was awful. Trump should tap into Andrew. No. No, we're avoiding that. Trump may do worse in Maricopa, but he can improve in rural Arizona. I wonder how he's going to do in Tucson this time around. Arizona will still have a dumb trifecta. Yeah, it's looking bad. And the second they get that, it's over. All we got is a Supreme Court, but it's like a bunch of rhinos on the Supreme Court. I thought the Grimace was okay. No, it was terrible. F. I don't know what it tasted like. It was like blueberry. I don't freaking. Well, I like blueberries. I like stuff like that. But no, I don't know what it was. Freaking disgusting. I bet Trump will do well if he had a speech rally at Baylor University in Waco, Texas. Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. I think it's a smart strategy. It's like if you're gonna go to like Democrat areas, do like freaking Milwaukee, do Detroit, do Boston, not Boston, you Philly. Makes much more sense than, I don't know, downtown Phoenix. What's a Grimace? It's some garbage promotional stuff that McDonald's had. It was awful. How would you fix Arizona GOP? Well, if you lose 2026, it's over. It doesn't matter if it's a blue wave or not. You have to win. But I think you gotta find a way to do better in Tucson and hold the line to Maricopa. You have to do way better with Hispanics and the native tribes there. Because, let's be real, the white voters that switch, they're not coming back. At least in not large enough numbers. Trump rally in Texas A&M University, the most conservative college. Yeah, again, just do that. Do a gritty, do something, and he wins. Arizona needs a Youngkin candidate. I kind of agree. But Arizona's weird. Like, the electorate is like establishment, but the primary electorate's MAGA. Like super MAGA. Don't know. Should we recall elections for members of Congress? Yes. I've always supported it. There should be something. Because there's no, like, senators. This is my problem with some of these assholes. Like, McConnell, he knows he's retiring. So he's going to purposely screw over the base every single time. At least have the statewide party, like, be allowed to do something. There's no reason that they are able to just, vote against their base to screw them over. Because he's retired. Thoughts on Newsmax? Has some problems with it. Screw it. Do a rally at Duke and talk about affirmative action. Well, just go to Harvard for the memes. Just give them the middle finger. Just go rate, like, to one of the dorms at Harvard. Like, in one of them. In one of the dorms with, like, 10 people and just do a rally. Inside one of somebody's, rooms. How is that congressional map from Texas that you shared on Twitter bad? What do you mean? Should we try to recall Hobbs? Yeah, you have to. Do something. She's hated in Arizona. Absolutely freaking despised. Trump rally in a Planned Parenthood. Arizona has a huge Trump support. Yeah, no, Arizona has it's unlike other Sunbelt states. The primary electorate's like one of the most MAGA in the country, but the general electorate, not so much. Boulder, Colorado. All right. Do you think there are any good candidates to go against Bob Casey? No. Harvard students would try to end Trump if he showed up. I don't think. Here's my thing. It's like I said, 20% or 30% of Gen Z is screwed. They're done. You're never going to never talk to them. They're insane. But the rest of them, they're sane and they're willing to have a conversation. And a lot of them don't even care about politics. But a lot of them love Trump. They just don't vote. I mean, Trump is the guy that, if there's a Republican that win the majority of Gen Z, it would be Trump. Again, the meme magic. A lot of these people grew up with the Trump memes from 2016 and so forth. Ironically, he should if he can move 5-10% by showing on a college campus. Yeah, it's like the Republicans, if you're going to go to these Democrat areas, go to campuses. Go to like universities and just say, hey, vote for me. And a lot of these voters be like, hell yeah, we got to vote for the meme. Gen Z men, maybe. Gen Z women, no. I understand that, but I'm just saying, if there's a Republican to win Gen Z, it's Trump. Just because the memes. No other Republican has that. Plus, Trump's the only one that does remotely good with Hispanics, Asians, African American voters. Luis Jr., let's see. Trump should campaign on Long Island with Zeldin. Yeah, but New York's not in play, though. Outside of, like, a couple of those congressional seats. That is true. A lot of my peers love Trump memes and see him as a funny guy. Vibes matter. Yeah. He's always had that. Even in, like, the worst parts of Trump, he's always had the meme magic. It doesn't matter. He's the king of vibes. Thoughts on Bridget Gabriel? She's cringe. I think she may follow me on Twitter. I don't really care. She's just cringe. Will Hurd. I have a nickname that I made up for him. Bill Turd. Oh, man. But, yeah, I think that the future of the GOP, there is a future there. You just gotta play it smart. Trump should run in Fairfax. I remember that oh my gosh, I wish the day after the election he announced a rally in Fairfax after Youngkin won. Let's see. But we'll most likely not even allow him to speak on campus. Just do one like right outside the campus. What are you gonna do? Odds on successfully resurrecting the 2016 meme magic. It seems like it's on his way. DeSantis tried it, he failed. But Trump so far seems like it's going good. But I'm telling you, gritty or grimace shake. One of them's awful, the other one's funny. Do it and you win. Alright, so if anybody got any more super chats, any more questions, any more comments, concerns, whatever, send them now or forever go in peace. Because I think we had a good conversation talking about how the GOP can win, some funny memes, all that. Need some memes. Yeah, Trump needs to barnstorm the country. Not just Republican areas, every single part, every nook and cranny of vote you can get. Downtown Detroit. I know it's an exaggeration, but it's like, hey. Any chance Trump debates? I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50 on it. Trump does a Fortnite stream on Twitch. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. Does he even know, like, an Xbox exists? Best site to use to track congressional vote records. There's like, is it like congressionalvoterecord.org or something like that? 530 has a decent one, but doesn't show every single vote. Calvin Coolidge Project is the best, absolutely. Let's see. So about Virginia, if Youngkin flips the state senate, the GOP definitely will be able to win the state by as much as 4% turnout with turnout and competency. Agreed. I wouldn't say, like, outside of, well, if you're talking about governor elections, I agree. If you're talking about federal, I gotta see us how we do in 2024 before that. Trump would solo squad an entire Fortnite lobby without knowing what he's doing. Yeah, I mean, I swear that would happen. It would be something crazy. He's never even seen an Xbox before. And he wins. But a lot of them, I don't think would like, even like a lot of the people would be like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to purposely lose to Trump. He needs to do a Call of Duty stream. Oh, my gosh. Trump should open carry the streets of Philly. Just watch Trump only lose Virginia by 5. I think he's going to lose by a bit more, but I don't think he's going to lose as much as he did in 2020. Things could change, but I think as of now. There's Trump on console war. There are some pretty good games on both sides. And Trump playing Fortnite wins and says you're fired to 2 million Twitch viewers. He needs to do something like that. Oh my gosh. If Trump, or something like Minecraft, something, it would be perfect. It's very sad, very sad. Fortnite gamer 69, 20, 24, 42. What are you doing? You know, it'd just be funny. I want to see it. Somebody on Team Trump, get him to do a stream on Twitch. I will live react to that. Do it. I think it's a good way to, like, connect with Gen Z. Or, like, do an interview with, like, PewDiePie or something like that. Alright, if anybody got any more super chats, I think I'm gonna head off. If you do, just send them now. If you did enjoy this stream, smash the like button down below. Subscribe. Share with your friends. Hit that little bell. Follow the Twitter accounts in the description down below. And, of course, join the channel today. Trump, Brandon, Obama play Minecraft. Yeah, President's Play. That's a pretty good channel. Or whatever it's called. Yo. Welcome to the first Truth Social God stream. Oh yeah, meme review. But did PewDiePie stop with the meme review? I don't know. Trump should play Battlefield 1 on live stream. $100 million unsub from Pewds if he does that. Well, it's Pewdie. I don't think Trump even knows who that is. Steven Howard for 2. Thanks for doing these, man. Thank you very much for the super chat. But yeah, you guys enjoy these streams, so we're gonna do more of these. Honestly, if Trump played Call of Duty, he'd destroy his career. I don't think so. It would be good for the memes, though. President Obama was constantly chewing gum. Alright, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next live stream or video.